So we need to talk about how the impossible happened. There's always this narrative about how Horde is worse for PvE content, and yet the best speedrun that just happened for this phase was done by Horde. So Progress did it again. They broke the game. This time just by having a really clean, good raid overall. Was it perfect? No. It definitely could have been better. And sub 22 looks possible, to be real with you. But overall, just really impressed with how this raid performed, and it just shows what's possible on Horde side. In some ways, there's just higher output possible on Horde side with good win free management, but also throughout it just seems like they have just really good control and movement. Horde side is often feeling like they're limited by movement, and totems can be a hassle. In AQ40, though, putting down your totems as you're moving just doesn't feel as bad in general, though, in a speedrun setting. So, just one thing to note here is like this mob gets to 57% and it's supposed to teleport at 75. Like their level of damage is just insane. Throughout this raid, that's the main thing that just keeps standing out at me, where some of these things that seem to be mechanics are not as much mechanics for these guys. And I really have to eat my words as far as what I was thinking was going to be what was happening on the Gigapool coming up here. The way they handle it is so different and so much smarter than what I was talking about. So, really just have to say that I have no clue what I'm saying sometimes and acknowledge that. So, we can just move past that. Because, yeah, I definitely will own it. The way that they do it is so much smarter. So they're basically doing it like the hardcore strat, where they're always just fighting one at a time of these guardians as much as possible. So the starting pull basically did nothing. Ideally, there was going to be someone that like pulls them farther in, but that just didn't really happen. So this first pull is like the one potential really weird one. Don't get the greatest view as far as what's happening behind us, but they pull the next pack and it doesn't all charge, right? Like they finish off the pack and just do so much damage, I guess, that it didn't do too much. So on this next one here, there's look how they have one mob around the corner and they're actually focusing um, these guardians first, right? Normally you're not used to that as much. You're used to the mind slayers getting targeted first. Not the case in this. So they insta kill one. Now they have one around the corner, insta kill the second. Excuse me. So no charge potential. It's genius. Perfect example of how to do that pack. So they do all get feared here. Little unfortunate. But they kill Yaosh first, just so they don't have to deal with the fear. Most groups are killing Kree first, but they don't do that. So a little bit of different strat on Horde side. Normally in this area, healing output feels like more of a danger, but didn't feel like too dangerous here. So interesting to note too in this raid how they have two mages compared to in alliance raids you typically just see the one mage. So I guess that's the difference of not having paladins and just a little bit of a different comp setup. Having the two mages may just make it safer. Looks like that they're still pulling off the pull as the raid is running in. Yeah, still finishing it up. And now it's dead. So the mages did a lot of the heavy lifting there compared to two priests that did a fair bit, but not as much as the mages. So perfect timing. You just see a raid that hasn't stopped so far, right? This whole time they're just moving and doing something. If you've note throughout this shaman here, Holy Pal is always swapping to mana per 5 gear when they're moving and not doing anything else. So always regenning and finding ways to get more mana. So just super clean, easy peasy. I feel like this section could have been faster. Ideally, they would have like cleaved that pack down and then mounted up and gone. They've all moved forward. So they have about 10 seconds here, it looks like, where they're not using speed items because they didn't have them on. So the question is, like how much is that lost? Now while using their speed items. Kind of a rat killing the bug. So now they set up for the next area here. Interesting to see how the hunter is running forward like that, huh? So notice how they're. I will say I was right in this area. The strat as far as people pulling to the right totally changed. Everyone always pulled to the left here now. So notice the setup on the upcoming pull here. As they're doing the Visk, a new Gigapull is happening that you didn't really see much until like the last 2 weeks. Or last week, I should say. So they going in. And with shamans, they just absolutely go super, super fast. 2 mages does help as well. Lost frost wands as well. It seems like this just dies really fast. So they did use Barov. Think maybe it goes a second faster. A Cold Eye Basilisk as well. So now they're moving forward. So here's the next Gigapole. We haven't really seen this until very recently. So they're all healing people back up. They need to be healthy. Tank looks like that they shield wall there. Run in with shield wall up. So now they're blasting down all those scorpions together that are just waiting for them. This is a huge new pull. Huge new tech with this. This really unlocks a lot of time where they can just get on their mounts and run. Very, very big piece of tech. So again, during this time period, notice how much mana regen is happening. Getting hundreds and hundreds of mana just in the run back. Already gotten over 600 mana just from running. Already gotten over 1k mana just from running. Already gotten 2k mana just in this run back as much as a mana pot. So semi-decent Gigapull here. They just have strong damage blasting everything down. Everything dies pretty fast. Everyone uses their DPS cooldowns like they're supposed to, it looks like. I'm sure maybe there was some exceptions, but they just do definitely have a higher level of AoE pump. Nice thing about having all the shamans, just as a little bit extra, couple K damage. And again, they just have people that actually do all the kind of tech stuff. So far, you can see on the side here, they've just slowly been chipping away some seconds each time. And to Visk, they were just fast. And now to Huhu, they're just going to be real fast. Notice how they're using those little MRT raid instructions. I think that's interesting. So they go pretty quick in this area. This is one of the dangerous areas. Most dangerous for sure. Set is pulled. Thunderclaps, they're staying out. Thunderclap Meteor is scary, that's for sure. So this one's volley, they get in. They have some people that are gonna might drop out of the raid. Doesn't look like they're really doing that though. Rip. So two shamans die right there. They both onk. So it is nice as a shaman, you can just instantly come back. Just kind of unfortunate RNG. And the timing, I mean, it looked like those two guys stayed together. And like up until right before this pull, still had fire potion on, but then the fire potion did get eaten up here too. So unfortunate, got eaten up right before on the pull right before this. Is what it is. What can you do sometimes? So just a little bit on the back foot catching up here, but still seems to manage throughout the rest of this raid pretty well. Alright, and they're moving forward. Running right in. Not a whole ton of tech work talking about on this, they just blast it down. Does seem like the mages are blasting. So this area is just all about fast tempo, killing stuff as they go. They just blast and move. Shout out to the Hunter. Hunter did a pretty good job pulling throughout this raid. They just go faster. Get a little unlucky in this area. So fear goes out. They pull two packs at the same time. They focus on the nullifiers, able to cleave down a couple of the, basically all the slayers by the time the nullifiers reach the raid, so then they're fine. And the two nullifiers are dead. So they're pulling the next pack as they're cleaving. The way they handled this area I thought was really good. So the big thing coming up here is that for Ouro, their timing is just like perfect. So keep that in mind that the rogue is gone now and setting up the next area. So they pulled the ads back. Again, they're just always hitting something. Setting up for the next pull. Insta-cleave a couple of them down. Pulling the next pack. So kind of sketch how that Mind Slayer is getting low health while the other ads are still up. So they're correctly not focusing much on the Mind Slayer. Killing the nullifiers first. Alright, they're feeling safer. They did a good job dragging the square around the corner. So they didn't kill the Mind Slayer until it was better timing. Much better start because of this. Kind of unfortunate this Mind Slayer has like 0% health and is just running around. They did a really good job right there having control. That was almost really sketch. And yeah, just kept it clean. Oh, I just accidentally hit this. That's jarring, sorry. So yeah, just kept it clean. Nothing too exciting, honestly. Besides, they did lose a warrior right here. Rip to the one warrior that died. So again, not perfect, right? Lost a little bit of DPS potential there. But they get up top and they run right in. Tank charges down the middle. And they're all on the bus. Nothing too big to mention in this last area. Won't look too much at the logs. Just mentioning how clean it throughout this raid looked, right? Little bit of scuff, but yeah, that's really it. Don't get to see the absolute end because it's a shaman. They want to get out of the raid so that only the warriors are eligible to get going in the stomach. And that's it. Fastest ever AQ40. So shout out to these guys for getting it done. I think it's really cool to see the progression of how AQ40 ended up going. The Ouro skip was a really big factor. That skip that you saw after Visc was really well done. All the different pieces of tech were just completed without any scuff. So that ends up winning and combined with doing a good job of dragging mobs. So GG's, well done.